The opinions and views expressed on this program do not reflect those of the management or staff of Community Media of Staten Island.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Around the Island. My name is Maria Esposito.
And I'm Jennifer San Martino.
And we're back.
Yeah.
And we just got off of Mother's Day.
Right, we did.
So we
did.
hope
And
all the
Memorial
mothers out
Day
there
and-
had a great day. It was beautiful weekend weather.
Beautiful weather.
First time in a long time. So, and we have Memorial Day coming up.
And it's early this year.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
That
yeah,
means
hurry up
half
and
the
get those
year-
plans.
Right, and half the year is over.
It's
just
true.
like that.
It's true. It does go quickly. The kids will be out of school before we know it. And then on to summer and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some of the Catholic private schools get out by like the 20th or
Yes.
the 18th around that time. Public just goes 1 week after that. And then we'll be sitting here saying it's
I
July
know.
4th.
I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It really is.
It really, but it is what it is. But just a lot of rain.
Yes, so much rain. So much
They said
rain.
April showers brings May flowers, but the
It just
May
keeps going.
showers
April
and
showers
the
brought
pollen.
May flowers,
I think we
and
talked
yes.
about the
We
pollen
did,
on the
we
last
did, we
show,
did.
and we're still all suffering.
Yeah.
Although I don't seem to be too bad.
All right, well, knock on something.
Something,
that
knock on
keeps going.
something. But other than that, everything's going good.
Going good, going good. But yeah, with this warm weather, we've got some good events coming up, as well as some things we want to talk about today, like, just being aware of, the deer, ticks, and things like that.
That's
So,
right. You have somebody on the show
we
today.
have Olivia Abrams from Project Lyme will be joining us to talk about that. And we've got some of the board members of the Staten Island Alliance
Yes.
talking about the Juneteenth that's coming up
That's
in
right.
Snow Harbor.
They
So-
always throw a good festival.
They do. They
Yeah,
do.
they
Day
really
long, something for everybody. Lots of music. It's a really really nice event.
That's good.
Yeah.
But we're going to get right to our show then, I
Yeah,
guess.
let's do it.
Let's
Let's
do
do
it.
it.
We will be right back.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
When people are fed, futures are nourished. They can connect with the world around them, unlock endless possibilities, and thrive. Join the movement to end hunger. Volunteer. Advocate. Donate. Go to feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here today with Olivia Abrams from Project Lyme via Zoom. Olivia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for making the time for us. I know that you're passionate about Lyme and prevention, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Project Lyme, especially at this time of year, right, when people are going outside to enjoy that warm weather. Here on Staten Island, we are known as the borough of parks. And over the last couple of years, our deer population has really exploded. So Lyme disease and prevention is something that's on our minds here in Staten Island. But I know before we get into everything, I believe you have a personal Lyme story. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yes, I was actually diagnosed with Lyme disease when I was 7 years old. I never saw a tick on me, which is incredibly common. And I didn't even have what they would refer to as the classic bullseye rash, which is something that a lot of people look for when they get bit by ticks, but actually only occurs in about 25 to 30% of people, and really was a medical mystery for a number of months before, my family mentioned to my doctor that we had been spending some time in upstate New York, and then I was able to get diagnosed. But it was really difficult because I was a young kid. I was probably in first or second grade, and I was experiencing really bad arthritis in my knees and the rest of my joints. And this is an issue that has continued to gain awareness and grow in cases since the early 2000s when I was diagnosed, and has served as a huge part of my life in what we do now at Project Lyme, which is a nonprofit I serve on the board of, and owning my own business in order to create products to keep people safe from ticks and tick-borne disease.
Wow. So, as you mentioned, it's so interesting that you said the bullseye only appears in about 25% of cases. I feel like that's the thing that people probably look for, and that makes it that much harder.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's very difficult. Lyme disease is often referred to as the great imitator because there are so many different symptoms that we can have. And what we're starting to see is other tick-borne diseases coming into the Northeast, like Babesia or alpha-gal, which have a whole other host of symptoms. So it's really important that if you've been in an area of Staten Island, probably, even just in your yard, if you have high grass, that you are monitoring yourself for symptoms. And if you have something that's unexplainable, definitely raise that issue with your doctor.
So, like so many of us here on the island, and I'm sure all over, we love to be outside. We want to take advantage of those green spaces. Many of us are fortunate to have backyard space and things like that we want to enjoy. What are some of the precautions that we can take in the here and now to prevent, a tick bite or ticks riding along into the house?
Yeah, it's amazing. There are so many things that we can do, but what I hear all the time from people is, I don't go to this park anymore because I'm scared of the ticks there, or I don't ride my bike, or whatever it may be. They choose not to participate, in a certain location or within a certain activity because they're so afraid of ticks. But there are so many simple steps that we can take to ensure that we're taking care of ourselves and being cautious. So, of course, if you have a backyard, maintaining that yard is incredibly important. Making sure that you don't have high grass or that you don't have leaves hanging around your yard. If you do have pets, it's incredibly important to take extra precaution. People who have pets are, at a higher likelihood of getting bit by a tick because their animals are bringing ticks inside. So there are a number of products that you can use on your pets, such as an oral medication to ensure that your dog doesn't get sick if they get bit by a tick. You can use a tick mitt to rub them down to make sure that they don't have any ticks on them before they bring them into the house and, cuddle up in bed with you at night. And there are a number of other solutions like chemical-free sprays or collars that you can use on your pets. I highly recommend using some form of bug spray on your clothes, not your skin, when you go into an area that you may suspect there are ticks. And also wearing, long sleeve shirts, tucking your pants into your socks is always a great idea. But I think the most important thing is making tick checks a habit, the same way that you put on sunscreen every single day when it's warm out, making sure that every single night you're doing a scan of your body and ensuring that you don't have any, black dot that can be even the size of a poppy seed stuck to you anywhere. Get someone in your family or a friend to do a tick check on you, especially if you're going to be outdoors. You can use the tick mitt on yourself to do a quick rub down, and just making sure that you're wearing protective clothing throughout the day.
Yeah, it's so important, and you're right. Tick checks, they don't take long, but it needs to be part of that daily routine.
Yeah, it's so important. And I think that's something that we really do strive for at Project Lyme, is to increase awareness, especially among children, because children are actually the number one age group to get Lyme disease. I believe it's 7 to 13-year-olds are, that number one demographic, which was how old I was when I got Lyme. And actually the second biggest group that gets Lyme disease is people who are working jobs outdoors. So if you're an electrician, if you are a firefighter, if you are doing construction and there's any brush area near your job site, it's incredibly important to do tick checks, around your lunch break or at the end of the day before you go home.
And is it still true that there is no cure for Lyme?
So there is no cure for Lyme disease. It's something that, never entirely leaves your body, but it is very possible to go into remission. The most important thing about Lyme disease is that the sooner that you take action in treating yourself with, antibiotics after you find a tick bite, the less likely you are to develop chronic symptoms. So really early intervention is the most important thing you can do. If you're able to, recognize some of those earlier symptoms, whether that's headaches, arthritis, any kind of joint pain, Bell's palsy, things like that, and going to your doctor and suggesting, hey, I, may have been in an area with ticks. Can I get a round of antibiotics? It's much easier to do that than potentially prolong that diagnosis and prolong getting treatment, which leads to more chronic symptoms.
Sure, sure. It sounds to me like we've come a long way in terms of, with the antibiotics and things like that. In your experience, is the number of people that have active Lyme, has that number gone down, do you think, over the last few years?
No, I think
Okay.
unfortunately that number is going up.
Is it?
And I think there are a few reasons for that. One, as you say, we do experience global warming. We have heat rising, which means that ticks are around now for longer periods of time. So you may have, 10 years ago thought I only need to do tick checks in the spring and the summer. But if you are living in Staten Island and it's 45 degrees all throughout the winter, there are ticks that are active. So I think that has complicated the length that ticks are around, but fewer people know that they should still be doing tick checks in the winter if it's above freezing.
Okay.
I also think that there has been a lot of moving of ticks and their species into different areas of the country. So certain tick populations that may have only been in the south and carry certain pathogens are now moving up north and vice versa. And we're also discovering, and a lot more awareness is coming to other tick-borne diseases besides Lyme. Like I mentioned earlier, alpha-gal is a hugely common tick-borne disease. We're actually seeing a lot of cases of it recently in Long Island. And the main symptom of alpha-gal is actually experiencing anaphylactic shock to red meat and other mammalian products, mammal-based products. So some people, when they just eat, beef, they feel very, very sick. Sometimes people are allergic to eggs, dairy, really anything made from an animal. So we're continuing to see high cases of all different types of tick-borne disease throughout the country and throughout the world.
Wow. Now, with so much of that, where are you in terms of, advocacy and legislation and just really, you continue to shine the light on Lyme?
Yeah, I mean, we are continuing to advocate and try to pass legislation both at the federal and state level. Me and Assemblywoman Dee Dee Barrett just introduced a bill which would provide education to, our labor force and ensure that people, like I mentioned earlier, like the electricians, like the construction workers, like the firemen and the policemen, have an understanding of how to take precaution. But we continue to need funding at a federal level to do research on vaccines and treatment and ensuring that patients are covered by insurance and things of that nature.
Of course, of course. Well, Olivia, I want to thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and especially for making the time to talk with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and everyone check yourself for ticks every single day.
Thank you so much. And we'll be right back with the rest of the show.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater, which fostered my love for acting. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Around the Island. We have some special guests with us today. They are board members from the Staten Island Community Alliance. We have Dana Walker-Boyd, excuse me for that. We have Michelle Sweeney-McCombs, and we have Nicole Myers. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We're here today to talk about your Freedom Festival, Juneteenth.
Yes.
I know we covered it last year. It was a fantastic time for all. But tell our viewers a little bit about maybe some of the new things you have going on this year. Let's do some flashbacks from last year.
Okay, great.
Educate us.
Wonderful. I'm Dana Walker-Boyd. I'm the president of Staten Island Community Alliance, and this is our 5th year for the
Is it 5 years already?
5
5
years.
years.
Wow.
5
Wow.
years. So we're so
5
excited to
years.
bring it back to the Snug Harbor Botanical Garden. And,
Beautiful grounds.
Great grounds. We
Amazing.
have some of the best locations. We're featured at the South Meadow lawn,
Okay.
which is where the big stage and the pavilion is, as well as the Tuscan Garden. And this year we really have a few really amazing events because we're doing a museum trifecta. Whereas the trifecta is we're actually going to have events and free membership, free admission to 3 of the museums: the Staten Island Children's Museum, the Noble Maritime Museum, as well as the Staten Island Museum.
What a great
So,
partnership.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great partnership. So
Very
we've
nice.
been fanning out within the Snug Harbor campus partners and really have been able to program some great events.
Very
and the
good.
stage definitely sets the tone where we have amazing artists that are going to be performing throughout the day.
What motivated the 3 of you to get involved in something like this?
Well, for me, I started as a volunteer with vending. I was a vendor. I have a small business also on the side. And I started as a vendor, and then the following year, Dana introduced me to it. She says, hey, you want to come on and, help direct vending?
So, Dana, you've been involved
Yes,
since
she's
year
been in-
one.
right,
Yes, I
from
have.
year 1. So I'm 4 years in, and these young ladies are in for the whole time, 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
It's such a collaboration. It's a lot of
is.
work.
It is.
But it looks like such a great time.
It's an amazing, amazing event. This year, our theme is family reunion.
Family
Reunion.
reunion.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
So we're inviting families to come, bring your families with you, so we can get more of more content with the families and the community as well.
Very nice. How is it getting the word out?
It's going pretty well. We verbally, we did fly. I'm the secretary and marketing director, and I love what I'm doing with marketing because I'm meeting so many different people in the industry, and we have it on all events. We have it on Eventbrite. We have it on all the major calendars. The mayor's office, we have a collaboration with the mayor's office with the Juneteenth Coalition, so they are helping us also with getting the word out, some media, and of course, CTV.
Well, anything that we can do to help. I know we
Thank
had a cameraman there last year.
Yes.
And it is quite a production that you guys put on, and there's something going on at all times.
Yeah.
And the viewers love it. They really
They
do.
do. They do.
So
They
we
do.
will be more than happy to cover it again this year. But give us an idea of what it takes to put this on. Something behind the scenes that you want to talk about. Nicole, you're up.
It's a lot of coordination, definitely commitments from our partners, our community partners, and really trying to bring in all of our sort of Black-led community organizations to take a part in developing the activities for the day. So that takes a lot of work and meetings and negotiating and patience.
Do you find that many repeat of your performances come back? They want to do it again?
Yes.
Yes, we do like to always bring back some of our community partners and our performers who are more local and have a large following throughout the island. So some of the things are ceremonial that we do with Juneteenth, acknowledging the ancestors, libation, drum circle. So a lot of those are familiar faces who you've seen throughout the island. But we also bring in additional organizations and dance companies and celebrity guests. We always have celebrity featured artists. This year we're bringing some great R&B music, R&B soul, and we have some great acts that'll be performing. Shaheem Franklin with Rugged Road of Recovery is going to be curating our Shaolin Cypher. And that is where we showcase a lot of the R&B and also some hip hop performers. But this year we focused more with family reunion, family songs, family genre of music. So
it's nice that you use the word family, because I feel, especially in the ceremonial part of your program, you're bringing the youth. And you're getting them involved, and you're educating them. And they're only going to stay with you year after year, you know. And I think that's what probably your goal is to keep them educated, to keep them coming back.
Yes, it is, and it really you see the growth in their performance level and how excited they are to come back year after year. We have PS 59 dance students.
You do involve the schools.
Yes, we involve the schools.
Very good.
They love it. We've had last year. We've had marching bands. So we try
color guards
through Curtis High School.
So that's so important. More than just a street fair.
Exactly. Yeah. And this year we're also doing something on the 19th of June as well, and that's going to be at the Staten Island Children's Museum, where we'll be showcasing from the International Children's Film Festival, and that will be celebrating Black stories. So we're going to do that
talking about education.
On the Juneteenth holiday. So we'll be at the Staten Island Children's Museum from 12 to 3, I believe.
Yes. Very good. You have to
On
give us
June
the information
19th.
about that as well.
And it's a free event. For you guys to be
Very
there.
good.
And we're also doing standing up a health and wellness section within our vendors to really infuse the importance of health and wellness throughout all the communities that come to the event.
And various resources as well throughout.
So it's also a way for your vendors to get their word out as well, and I'm sure everything is kind of connected with your theme.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. The health, the wellness of your family, your food. We'll have some food demonstrations, nutritionists. In addition to the wonderful performances, we have a fashion show that'll be done in the Tuscan Garden, which really is a beautiful setting for something like that.
Yes.
And
we'll also have family games, competitions to win prizes.
Family reunion, very nice.
Let them feel like they're a part of it.
Although, if they get a little bit too competitive, we don't know
how
it's going to turn out. But that sounds like a lot of fun, and it's all at the grounds of Snug Harbor.
Snug Harbor, yes.
On June 21st.
Yes.
And what are the hours?
12 to 6.
12 to 6.
And we have an after party, which is a great collaboration that we have with Reboot NYC. And that is the silent disco. So once our event ends at 6:30, we'll have 3 DJs on the lawn, headphones, and silent disco. The music will be playing. You know, it looks kind of weird when
when they're all
everyone's dancing to a different beat. But we are going to have that silent disco, and we encourage the families to stay. And as it gets a little bit darker, there are lights now at Snug Harbor. That whole South Meadow is lit. But then the headphones light up, and it becomes a whole another thing.
The
whole disco.
Well, it sounds like a really nice party.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we are going to tell our viewers about it. We're going to put up the information.
Yes.
And we will actually cover it as well. But I just want to thank you guys for coming again. And we welcome you, and we'd love to have you back again next year for your 6th annual.
Absolutely.
And see what it's all about.
Thank you
so
for your
much.
time, the opportunity, and always the support from CTV.
Well, thank you for what you guys are doing for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
We will be right back after these messages. Thank you.
There's only one thing that will save somebody's life, and that is naloxone nasal spray. Get 911 on the phone, get the emergency responses there on their way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Around the Island. A couple of weeks ago, we ran into Kathy Del Priore, the Executive Director of the Grace Foundation. She was at the SIEDC conference, and she had this new, exciting announcement to make. Let's sit back and let's check it out.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Licata. I am with the Grace Foundation. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the SIEDC for having us here today. The Grace Foundation is proud to announce that we have just started the partnership with the SIEDC. We're going to be launching a 3-phase project. Kathy Del Piero, the Executive Director of the Grace Foundation, is joining me right now. You can't see all the people here because the speaker's in the way. Our first phase of our partnership is a food truck. The food truck is going to serve as a training ground for the participants of the Grace Foundation, as well as being able to serve as a mobile kitchen incubator with the SIEDC. Now, if you've ever gone out to any sort of event, the Festival at the Mount, and you've seen all the food trucks that are out there, you know that everybody likes to eat, everybody likes to buy things. What's better to buy something from than a nonprofit that is working with participants with developmental disabilities, specifically autism. At this time, what we'd really like to do, instead of just sitting here and talking about the food truck, is we'd like to take everybody outside the double doors, and you can see the food truck. It's the Grace on Wheels food truck. It is sponsored by United Activities Unlimited, the Carl V. Beanie Memorial Fund, and Marvel Consults. And if we could all head out that door to the left, we could take a look at the food truck, give everybody a tour. There's free cookies and some squishy fire trucks.
We are so excited to debut our Grace on Wheels truck that's going to be completely run by, of course, a chef, along with our participants at the Grace Foundation. So what this means is so much for the future of our kids and what they can do, and job readiness, and how to prepare foods and how to serve. This food truck is so much more for that. We could bring it out to the community for food truck events, private parties, block parties, you name it, it's there for everybody.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health, my own mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I've never been more devastated than the day I lost my mom. I was depressed, miserable, in ways I never imagined. I reached out, and my sisters came. My pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. The chaos that was in me began to subside. I was more focused, clear. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. That's not up for debate. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a great show, very informative.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Lots to look forward to, and as well as lots to, prevent and be aware of.
Yeah, it's just amazing how far the awareness for Lyme's disease has come through the years.
It's true.
I was diagnosed many, many years ago, and I think 1995, and it was not even heard of back then. But so many people now are made aware of it because of your guests that you had on today that can just spread the word.
But it's interesting you say that, because the folks who have brought it to the forefront are the ones who have personal experiences with it.
Yep.
And thank God that they're forthcoming and sharing all that information, because people really did not know.
No, they did not know, and it had gone undetected for so many years,
Right.
and people weren't properly medicated because of it.
It's true.
So, but now it seems to be one of the very first things most doctors look for.
Yeah,
especially on Staten Island.
With our exploding deer population over the last few years, and the fact that we are the borough of parks, right?
That's right.
I mean, we want to get out and enjoy those green spaces, but we just need to be mindful when we do that.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, reminding people to do that deer check when they get back in the house is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let's thank our guests,
Yes.
Dana and Nicole and Michelle and Olivia. Just, really great stuff today.
Yep. And speaking of outdoors, we hope everybody gets outdoors.
Absolutely. Enjoy it.
Enjoy Memorial Day weekend. Everybody stay safe.
See you next time.
Bye.
Produced through the facilities of Community Media of Staten Island.